So hopefully you just saw my video about conic section parabolas, and again, those were all parabolas facing up and down. But what happens if the parabola is facing left or right? For example, let's say I had this. Let's say my vertex was over here at -3, -3. So there's my vertex. And let's say my parabola is opening up like this. And I told you my focus was at 0, -3. Okay? So this time the parabola is opening up to the right. All right? Now, there's only one big difference. Everything else is going to be the same, except y and x will switch places. Because normally we have y equals, we'll say, again using the vertex would be x minus 3 squared minus 3. But this time the only thing that's going to change, because it's on its side, y and x will switch places. So it's going to be x equals y it's going to be plus 3 squared because it's the opposite of y now because y is inside the parentheses, and then the x part is still minus 3. So again, what happened here, I recognize the parabola is on its right side, or it's tilted on its side as opposed to going up and down, so x and y have to switch places. Now, normally we do the opposite of x, but because it's on its side, we do the opposite of y. If y is -3 in the vertex, we write plus 3 inside, and then the x part stays the same at -3. Okay? But from here, everything else is the same as the up and down conic section parabola. A is usually in front, but as we know, A is going to equal 1 over 4p. All right? And so we count from the vertex to the focus to find out what p is. So from the vertex, I go over 1, 2, 3 units. So p equals 3. That means 1 over 4 times 3, which is equal to 1/12. And notice how I went to the right, and going to the right, of course, is positive. So it's going to be x equals 1/12 y plus 3 squared minus 3. And just like before, I could, and you could see it, the minus 3 is moved over here, so it's really x plus 3 equals 1/12 y plus 3 squared. Either way is fine. You'll see it both ways. But that kind of gives you a little taste there. But it's just like the up and down conic section parabola. The big difference is that x and y switch places, so make sure you are aware of where the vertex is and which numbers go inside the vertex. But the focus is the same, and A is switched out by 1 over 4p, and that is how we find the conic section equation for a parabola when the parabola is facing left or right. All right, here's another example, but I'm only going to give you the vertex is at, let's say it's at 2, -5, and the focus is at, let's call it -4, -5. Okay? So if I were to graph that information, okay, so 2, -5, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, -5 is right there. And then -4, -5, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the focus right there. Okay, and remember, the parabola will always open up towards the vertex. So that means my parabola is going to be opening up this way. All right, so it's going to be opening up that way. When I write the equation, normally it's y equals, but because it's on its side, it's actually going to be x equals, and then parentheses y, the vertex would do the opposite of -5, so it's plus 5 squared, and then we write plus 2, because we just do what x says this time. All right, we had to find out what A is. Okay, and as we know, A equals 1 over 4p. And for defined p, we find the distance from the vertex to the focus. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6. But we went backwards, so p equals -6. We went in the negative direction from the vertex to the focus, so that's why it's a negative number. And so it would be 1 over 4 times negative 6, which is 1 over negative 24. So A is going to be negative 1/24, y plus 5 squared plus 2. But as I've said before, and again this could be true, the positive 2 can go back with x over here, which means it could be x minus 2 equals negative 1/24 y plus 5 squared. Okay, so these are conic section parabolas, and the big difference, you're like, what's the difference between the one we did before and this one? Well, with conic sections, remember, it could either be facing up or down or left and right. When we're doing the parabolas that we've done before with quadratic equations, those are just quadratic models which only face up and down. These are conic section models, meaning I can slice this in any direction I want, and it could be sliced going left and right. So, just wanted to make sure you guys understand the difference there, and we'll talk about that more in class. But this is an exposure to it, and we'll do some more problems together, and I've made a bonus quiz if you want to quiz yourself to see how you did with this video. So good luck, and I hope you did well.